Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call the Common Council to order on this special Monday edition. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chapletsky.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst.
Here.
Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Sengstack.
Here.
10 present, none excused.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Alderman Vitale will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
We have 4 items for public hearing this evening. I'll ask the clerk to read number 1.
A hearing on the improvement of the general area bounded by South 76th Street to South 108th Street and West Cleveland Avenue to West Oklahoma Avenue by miscellaneous replacement or repair of concrete sidewalk and driveways at selected locations.
Mr. Daniels.
Okay, this is the public hearing for the 2013 sidewalk repair program. Tonight I'm going to go through the project scope and cost, the assessment rates and methods of payment, comments or questions from the Common Council and citizens affected. Then the hearing would be closed and the project would be referred to the Board of Public Works, and we would expect a final decision from the Common Council later tonight. Here are the project limits. We're going to go all the way from 76th Street to 108th Street, Cleveland, down to Oklahoma. Any sidewalk in that area would be on our list, perhaps. Here's typical sidewalk defects. If there are cracks, if there are settled slabs, if there are heaved slabs or displaced slabs. These are trippers for people who are of low sight. This is how the work is, how the sidewalk is fixed. The old slabs are removed. The new concrete is placed. And then we come back later and remove the forms and we put the sod in so that everything looks just the way it was when we arrived. So the project will include broken, raised, or settled sidewalks being fixed, which would create a hazard for pedestrians and other sidewalk users. The property owners benefit from having the enhancement of their property and neighborhood, and the city benefits by avoiding costly lawsuits due to injuries resulting from defective sidewalk conditions. Now, in that area that I outlined, there are 1,840 properties, and we found 290 properties that needed sidewalk repairs. The last time we've been in this area to actually repair sidewalk was 17 years ago in 1996. And I just wanted to highlight that we'll be using recycled crushed concrete from old pavements instead of mining new gravel. We'll be using recycled fly ash from coal plants to be in the concrete instead of mining new cement. And that the new asphalt would be made of 20 to 35% recycled asphalt. Cost of the project is $120,000. The assessment rate is $2.74 per square foot for all properties, no matter where the location or whether the bid prices are high or low. All schools, churches, and charities pay their fair share too. No one is exempt. Businesses, corporations, and manufacturers pay a higher rate to ensure they contribute their fair share. Their assessment rate is $3.42 to $4.10 per square foot. We will do some mud jacking if those slabs are still in good condition and they've just merely settled. The mud jacking rate is $1.40 per square foot, which is about half of what the replacement value is. And the city will collect $33,600 in assessments, which is about 28% of the cost of the total cost of the project. Bills would not be mailed out until March of 2014. Payment options include a lump sum if you're under a $100 bill, 5-year installment if you're between $100 and $250, or a 10-year installment plan if you have a bill over $250. For a $250 bill over a 10-year period, assuming a 4% interest, the special assessments would range from the first year, $35, to the 10th year, $26 in the year 2023. The city has funded projects with special assessments for over 100 years, and properties that enjoy a unique benefit from like having a new sidewalk in front of their house have historically been assessed up to 100% of the cost, but in this case, The assessments only make up about 28% of the cost. This map shows the south side of West Dallas. All the colored lots are people that have paid a special assessment in the past 10 years. This pretty much shows that everyone is paying their fair share. Most people have already paid for their street, alley, or sidewalk in front of their house in the past 10 years. I wanted to comment on the 4%. The city does borrow the funds for the paving or sidewalk portion of this project. The city pays interest to these bondholders over 10 years, so the reason the city assesses an interest charge is because the city passes along these interest charges to the residents that go on the 5 or 10-year plan. The city does not make a profit off the interest. At this point, I'll have any comments or questions from the council or citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Do we have any questions from the Common Council on this item?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Rote?
Pete, the sidewalk square is about 25 square feet, right?
Yeah.
So a little under $75 per square? Okay, just for clarification. Thank you.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst?
Pete, you had talked about recycled crushed concrete versus new concrete. What's the quality difference? And I know cost savings is one thing for right now, but if we're going to turn around and have to redo the sidewalks again in a short order of time, then I question that.
That's why we only do up to 30%. The state has studied different mixed designs, and if you go more than 30%, yes, you may be compromising the strength. But they found that the ash really doesn't compromise the strength if you keep it to under 30%. So
Okay.
there should be no, lowering of quality with this.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the council on this item? Seeing none, are there any questions from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit for an expansion of use to relocate fuel tanks from 551 South Curtis Road to 571 through 579 South Curtis Road, and to provide cross-access between parcels on the Zignego Ready Mix properties, submitted by Paul Zignego.
Mr. Scher?
Thank you, Mayor. The Zignego proposal actually started out with an acquisition of a property at 57179 South Curtis Road. That's the property here shown in yellow. That was formerly Poblocki paving a storage lot for Poblocki paving. So Zignego has purchased that property with the intent to relocate an existing fuel tank and provide cross-access across that property from the cement proportioning plant. And the proposal is considered an expansion of use, which triggers a special use review. This is a aerial diagram showing the location of the existing fuel pump on the overall campus. The Zignego properties consist of 5 overall parcels, ranging from 495 down to the subject to tonight's public hearing, the 571-79 property. This is the site here that's been acquired. Here are the existing fuel pumps. The proposal is to relocate those to this general area here, and then also to provide some cross-access from the cement plant across this particular part of the 571 property and out onto Curtis Road. The main access, truck access to this site, is directly onto Curtis Road from approximately this point here. There are other access points here, but the efficiencies that are proposed would be to create this cross-access at that location. The property is zoned M1 manufacturing. Concrete plants and fueling tanks are considered special uses. The fuel tank that would be located is approximately 10,000 gallons. It's utilized currently for diesel fuel. That would be, again, relocated. This is not a new fuel tank, it's just a relocation of existing. This one would go away. A new one would be created here on the 571 property. Outdoor storage would also continue on this property as in the past for Poblocki. There is some opposition, some concern from approximately 57 petitioners. Petition was received here by the city clerk. The general concerns are proximity to residential uses, the height of the material storage exceeding the wall height, the hours of operation, and lack of notification. Also, noise and dust has been identified as a concern within the petition. The council will hold action on this item tonight, given the concern, to further discuss the topic with Zignego and the neighborhood. The item will be reviewed by the Plan Commission in an upcoming Plan Commission meeting expected in July 24th. So this diagram is just basically the current status as is for this 571 property is outdoor storage. It's what it was permitted to be when it was owned by Bablocki, and it's currently permitted to be that same thing, an outdoor storage lot for Mr. Zignego in his use. What's changing here and what's drawing the special use into play is the introduction again of cross-access and the relocation of fuel tanks. That's considered an expansion of the use. So with that, the possible considerations would be, that staff would be looking at down the road would be, if a special use is to be considered for this property, we would like to actually consolidate all these lots of record into one parcel, one lot of record, and then further update the overall site with a special use. Currently, there's only one special use for the existing properties, and that's here at 521 Curtis Road, which is a maintenance facility. The remaining properties are currently concrete batch areas, which are considered legal non-conforming uses. And this acquisition and proposed use to provide cross-access and fuel tanks is the trigger that would potentially bring this into discussion of consolidating these and updating the terms of the special use. And if there are any questions at this point, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there any questions from the Common Council on this item?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May?
I wanted to quickly, again, reiterate that I did receive these letters last Friday. I think everyone on the council has emailed them as well. About 57, 58 signatures. About five of the people are from outside of West Dallas. Looks like their kids may be attending Walker or they use the park. And a lot of the big issues that were raised, Steve, were those raised in the letter. So thank you for bringing those to light. Some other concerns in the neighborhood, and Gary and I, Alderman Barzak and myself, and Mayor Devine went out to the Zignego property, and thank you to them for allowing us to take a tour of the site and get a better idea of their operations. You know, we mentioned down the road we'd like to see this happen. I think we'd like to see it sooner than later, coming down to, you know, one property, one set of special use information coming forth to the city. As it turns out, I think was that a Thursday we went out there? I believe it was a Wednesday or a Thursday. That Friday night, I got permission from the structural engineer at DOT to observe the deck pouring on Greenfield Avenue. And on my way home around midnight, I came from the south. A Zignego truck was coming from the north. I let it turn right in front of me, and I followed it to see what speed it would go. And it got up to about 40 miles an hour on a 30 through a residential area within just a couple of blocks. Now, that might be out of the ordinary. I'm not sure. It's the only one I've observed. But we would like to work with Zignego over the next month to see this come to one property, one special use, before granting something like this moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Barzak?
First comment I make is we're not going to take any action on this tonight, and I think everybody knows that, including the people that own the property. The one comment during our discussions, I also had the opportunity on the Friday night when they were making, I think it was 60 runs or whatever it was to pour that night that you went and observed. I sat at the neighbor's house, and I just kind of wanted to observe what was going on. So we sat in the back, had a little barbecue, and sat out till about 11 o'clock at night, give or take. And one of the comments during our discussion was that the trucks, when they go to the east, that's when the important thing is to possibly talk about speed. And when they come back, that's really not an issue because that's the side of the, of manufacturing and there's no houses over there. What we observed is just the exact opposite. When they were going to the east, they were loaded and they were moving pretty slow. And, you know, they were lumbersome and even the sound quality was lower because with that full load on, it just makes everything, you know, heavier and it just, the trucks seem to travel better. On the way back, I wish I would have had a checkered flag because when they came flying down there, they were, excuse the term, balls to the walls, but they were going full blast, going from the east to the west to get back to refill. It was, we were just sit there shaking our head. It was pretty incredible to watch this happening. And it was one after another. And it was, this went on, like I said, I think I went to bed about 11 and it continued to go on all night. If you're a resident living there, you got to put up with this. It's incredible. I don't know how those people on the corner, and I'm 3 houses in, and I get a little of the shaking, but I have central air, thank God. If I had my windows open, I don't know how I'd put up with it. That's just, I mean, like just one of the issues. The other issue is and I was concerned about this, is if the fuel tanks are moved and it's a smoother operation, I think we're going to have increased truck traffic, that it's actually going to pick up the volume to make it faster so they can get more trucks out, more trucks in. And, you know, there's where I just have some issues with the number of trucks on Theodore Trecker Drive, and it just keeps getting increasingly more and more and more. And then, of course, it brings up the whole nother issue of trucks, and it's not the Zignego trucks, so I'm going to, you know, on that part, but other trucks that, as traffic backs up because of Zignego trucks or any other trucks, then they start flying through the neighborhoods. And, you know, there's just all kinds of issues because of the overuse of that particular area. That area back there is just way overused for the, you know, as close it is to the residential. Back in the old days, I mean, that was just open field, and you know, and the residents kind of grew around it, because I grew up there back in 1952. I was there, and I used to play in that area, and you could just see it expand over the years, and the truck traffic just pick up. And I think that's the issue we have to use when we go in and look at the entire site, and we try to put it under one, is the amount of volume of trucks. And, you know, anything we can do to get that volume down, I think, is what we're after. So with that, you know, we're going to have it's going to go to the, help me out. It's going to go to the Plan Commission, and we'll discuss it openly then, and you know, have some meetings, I think, in between. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Barzak. Are there any other questions or comments from the council on this item? Okay, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? If you can come up to the microphone. And please state your name and address.
Louis Kowieski, 719 South 97th. I noticed on the slide you had your present tank. The protection around it was a regular concrete median barrier protection wall. Being the proximity, right there, yeah. Being the proximity immediately to the Rainbow Park, are you going to take any special provisions for catastrophic occurrence with the new tank? Leaking, spilling, fire, other than that?
That would, that question would have to be addressed by the Zignegos, and I believe they are here tonight, so perhaps.
I would just recommend that it be considered.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 3.
A hearing on the special use permit for GR's National Pub, an existing tavern located at 6827 West National Avenue.
Mr. Scher?
Thank you, Mayor. GR's Pub is an existing bar at 68th and National, and they're proposing an outdoor extension of premise. They currently do have a patio behind the tavern now in this area. And for reference, this is 69th Street, an alley, and then National Avenue is at the top of your screen. So they do have an existing patio behind the bar. What they'd like to do, though, is expand that use for more than just sitting there or smoking, and to extend the licensed premise out into this area. There would be a fence proposed to corral enclose the area. The hours of operation for the outdoor area would be from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. The existing tavern hours are indicated here, generally opening at 9 a.m. till the closing time, state mandated closing time. And again, the proposal is to simply just add a fence to this location. Planning Commission has reviewed this and recommended approval, and there have been no objections received to date.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there any questions or comments from the Common Council on this item? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? Seeing none, we will close public hearing number 3, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 4.
A hearing on a special use permit for Treble Maker Studios, a proposed music studio to be located within the existing multi-tenant building at 5317 West Burnham Street.
Mr. Scher.
Thank you, Mayor. Treble Makers is proposing to locate within a very small portion of an existing 88,000 square foot facility, industrial facility, formerly the West Dallas Incubator. They're a recording sound studio, and again, they'd be located in the northwestern corner of this building, which is bounded by Burnham Street on the north. Also, this red line is the city limit. 53rd on the east, 54th on the west, and Rogers Street on the south. The zoning is manufacturing, which permits recording studios, music studios as a special use. The hours of operation are from 9 a.m. until 10:30 p.m., general hours. 1,800 square foot use within a approximately 90,000 square foot building. The studio area, tenant improvements would include some soundproofing and screening of some of the windows internally, again, to deaden the resonance and sound from the area, the tenant space. We're also working with the property owner, who has agreed to update the property. There's obviously been a very old building in sight going back to 1914. There's some fix-ups needed, and the owner, Mr. Check, has agreed to fix deteriorated parking spaces, get design approval for some window infill on the west elevation of the building, update, do some maintenance on the parking lot, remove, and he's also already removed some unlicensed vehicles and other miscellaneous storage from the property. Planning Commission has recommended approval back in May of this property, and there have been no objections to date.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there any questions or comments from the alderman on this item? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 4. That concludes our public hearings. We will now move on to citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. Is there anybody who wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Again, we ask that you state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Charles Rude. I am the assessor for the city of West Dallas. I am here tonight to present to council, as required by statute, the 2013 annual assessment report. This is a new requirement for 2013. The report fulfills the requirements of statute and standard of uniform standards of professional appraisal practice, standard number 6. It contains information on our yearly assessment work, including sales, modeling for valuation, neighborhood analysis, forms, reports, and statistics. It further confirms compliance with Chapter 70 of the state statutes. At this time, I'd like to present this report to Council President and West Dallas City Council.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Rude. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening?
Louis Kowalski, 719 South 97th. I'm married 43 years. The other day, my wife informed me that she wasn't happy with what she was seeing on construction barricades, 84th and Greenfield all the way to Schlinger, Schlinger from 84th over to 92nd, 92nd south to Greenfield. What was bothering her, and if you're married, it bothered me too because I'm her dog. So I go and I survey the area, and on every construction barricade in what I just mentioned is a special notification that super video is this way, that way, this way, that way. Okay? On all of the big project going on with Greenfield Zoo Interchange, the state or whoever, I don't know if the city had a hand in it, they've got the big 4x4 signs at every major intersection as to what businesses you can access from that area, all the way down Lincoln, coming back, whatever. I've lived there since, I live on 97th, second house off the corner. Lived there since 78. My kids grew up in the neighborhood. When Super Video came in there, I gotta admit, I didn't like it. Still don't like it. But I don't like that it gives the appearance that with all the businesses that are affected by the sewer work going on 85th and 87th, only Super Video is getting special mention on construction barricades as to how to get there on 98th and Greenfield. It smells to me like favoritism, cronyism. Like I told Alderman May, I said, it's like when you leave a bathroom door open, you start getting the odor. You know, I think that bathroom door is open and it's starting to smell funny. Why is only one business got all their signage on the barricades? Okay, here's what I did. This is 10 o'clock at night, last night. I didn't even know this meeting was tonight till I was informed this afternoon. First I called my alderman. He didn't answer, left a message. I called the mayor. He didn't answer. I don't expect anybody to answer on Sunday night, but if they would, fine. My next call was to the police department. I explained the locations, and he said I'll have a guy. He was going to call, the desk sergeant was going to call Super Video, tell the manager to get those signs off of there in 2 hours, or they were going to do it with the squads and ticket them for violating the ordinance on putting signage on public right-of-way. Somewhere in between, engineering got involved. What I find out now is that there was a special agreement done with Super Video enabling them to put that signage up. They got dispensation from the Pope in this case being the city of West Allis. I have never been aware of a variance meeting or an open public meeting enabling all the other businesses in the affected area to have that same privilege of special mention. And I'm not a business owner, so don't get me wrong. And I don't like Super Video, but it smacks a bad taste to me. And as it sits right now, because of the permission given by engineering department, they are able to get that special privilege. Although we have I thought it was usually you write an ordinance and you don't like loopholes in it, it's usually firm. If there's something that needs to be changed, the participant can ask for a variance or whatever legal means done. This, I think, was handled different. If there is a past practice on this that they've done before, then I think the public should be notified about it, that if they've got a project and they're being affected, that the city will bend for them. Don't just knock on a few doors, notify everybody that's affected. If you go from 84th and Greenfield to 98th, there's a lot of business that are affected by that sewer closures on 85th to 87th. Both sides, it's solid business. Only one business at 98th is being taken care of with signage. And that's why I'm here tonight. I think the sign should be removed, even though engineering okayed it. You guys govern this city. You have an ordinance on the books. I think whatever permission was given should be rescinded. And it shouldn't happen again. Either if it's going to happen again, they make the variances in the ordinance or get rid of the ordinance. But I don't like the smell of what's going on. You know, granted, this thing might be done in 2 weeks, and what's the big deal? But it doesn't look right. Any questions?
We can't have dialogue in this because of open meetings, potential open meetings violations, so this is just us listening to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make you aware of it, and I don't know if it's going to be handled the way I think it should be handled, but you're opening a door here, and I don't think you want to open that door.
I think we
You know,
can,
everybody that has a rummage sale going on should have the same privilege.
we can probably talk to you during recess and give a better explanation.
I want to thank that man back there in the uniform for doing a good job of keeping the racetrack known as 100th Street and Schlinger down to a minimum.
Noted. Any other participants under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation and move on to item F on your agendas. We have one minor change. The Administration and Finance Safety Development Committee and Advisory Committee will be meeting in room 115 as opposed to room 118. Public Works and License and Health will still be meeting in room 128. That brings me to the mayor's report, item G on your agendas. Couple things, since we only meet once a month now, this month at least. Last week, the police department had a recognition ceremony for officers and community members that went above and beyond the call of duty. They gave out awards in categories of community partnership, citizen action, and various distinguished honors to the personnel in the police department, including the Employee of the Year, Sergeant Trevor Pastera. I just want to give a quick thank you to all the community partners, as well as pat on the back for all the police officers and employees at the police department that earned awards at this year's ceremony. I can see by what Alderman Reinke has in front of her that she'll be covering the city's Independence Day festivities, so I'm going to skip that. But I do want to also mention coming up on Monday, July 22nd, will be the city's National Night Out event down at the Farmers Market from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock. And that will be followed on Tuesday, July 23rd, will be the neighborhood block parties. And lastly, we are not going to meet again before the beginning of State Fair, which is 31 days away. So that concludes the mayor's report this evening. Are there any alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman May.
A couple of quick announcements. Again, July 20th, Friends of La Follette Park will be having a bike ride. Meet at 10 o'clock at La Follette Park. Everyone's invited. It's $7, and what they're going to do is they're going to head up to the Hank Aaron Trail together, bike down to Palermo's, have a tour of Palermo's, pizza, soda, and bike on back. So a great way to get involved with the community, and it's a relatively inexpensive event. Also, I've seen a little bit of an undercurrent through Facebook of a possibility of forming a Friends of Rainbow Park group. And if anyone's interested, if they could please contact me, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Probst.
A few weeks ago, Mayor Devine, Alderman May, and myself hosted an ice-breaking meeting for our strategic planning committee. Really looking forward to the 25 to 30 people that showed up, very interested and looking forward at what West Allis can be in the future. I also had the opportunity to be here last Thursday for the police department recognition ceremony, and something that struck me while I was here is, you know, we always hear from our media anytime we have an officer that skirts the lines of professionalism. The media always seems to find a way to have a field day with stuff like that. But, you know, I sat here and I looked around City Hall on Thursday night as I sat with Alderman Reinke and Alderman Rote and Alderman Vitale and myself, and sitting here and not a single camera around. Well, we had some incredibly good news. A special moment that I had that evening was watching Officer Lori Belli and Officer Kyle Webster receive the Life-Saving Award for working to revive Corey Stingley, a former student of mine. So that was a special moment for me. But it was just one of those moments that, you know, we never seem to have the media around to see the sense of community or the incredible professionalism or the selfless spirit that our police officers and our firefighters give to our community every day. So I want to thank the police chief for hosting that here at City Hall and allowing us to come and share in the good work of our West Dallas Police Department.
Thank you, Alderman. Do we have any other alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Reinke?
I agree with Alderman Probst. It was a wonderful evening, and it made us very proud. We have many, many fine officers in our city, and it was just, it was very heartwarming for all of us that were there to view these particular men and women who put their lives on the line for us and have done so many wonderful things. We always hear the negative, but we have so many positive officers in our city, so we can be very proud. And now, for my second announcement. Obviously, we are getting ready for our July 4th celebration this week. It'll be a grand celebration for all of West Dallas, and we hope that you'll participate starting Tuesday at 6 o'clock. The youth judging will take place for costumes, coasters, and anything that the children put together for awards. And then we'll have the magnificent, colorful parade at 7 o'clock that I'm hoping the aldermen all show up for, because it'll be a grand, grand parade. 10 bands we have this year, with all the children participating, and many, many acts. So please come and watch this marvelous parade that we're so proud of. Then we have the post-parade celebration. The parade will start at 77th and Greenfield and go all the way down to 70th Street and end at Veterans Park. And there we will find another celebration. We'll have Andrea and the Mods for the band, and all kinds of games for the children, and lots of food to eat. And it'll be a fun time for the whole family. It's a family event, so it's alcohol-free. Then, on Wednesday, of course, I've been plugging that Breakfast of Champions, and I'm proud to say that we have a number of veterans that have decided that they will come. And so what better place to honor the veterans that have really, really provided our freedom? Please come. It will be at 8 o'clock, and the food will be great. We have entertainment there, and that's another fun time. Thursday, Grandstand Show. Grandstand Show starts at 8 o'clock. We are having the kids of Wisconsin perform for the audience. We'll have a flag ceremony along with Mayor Bell's greeting. Mayor Bell. I'm sorry about that. Mayor Devine's greeting.
Wow.
That's what he gets for taking a vacation on me.
Usually Jim Sangstock does that, but not you, Alderman Reinke.
But anyway, Mayor Devine will give his greeting, and it'll be a grand evening of glorious fireworks. We promise that they're the best, and hopefully we'll have good weather so we can all enjoy this particular celebration this year. So please come and support. Committee has worked hard on this, and it would be nice to show your pride. It says, "Pride, let your pride sparkle and shine." And this is the time to be proud, to be American. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Do we have any other alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Chaplesky.
I'd just like to ask Alderman Reinke, you didn't mention how much the tickets were for the breakfast?
The tickets are $10, and there's still a few left if you if we can crowd you in. And it's at 8 o'clock.
Okay, do we have any other alderpersons' reports this evening?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of June 18th, 2013.
Second.
We have a motion with a second by Alderman Sengstock. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, standing committee reports this evening. We have the License and Health Committee, Alderman Chaplesky.
Mayor Devine. I'd like to report tonight on items number 5 through 16 on tonight's agenda. These are various license and communications. They're voted for approval, place on file, or in the case of 13 through 16 for non-renewal license by 4 members with 1 member excused. I'd like to move for the adoption of the committee's report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And I'd just like to say items number 17 through 21 will be reported out after recess.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item L on your agendas.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Weigel.
I'd like to move to reconsider the resolution relative to accepting the proposal of Purple Cow Organics that was passed by the Public Works Committee and by the council. As I said, I'd like to move to reconsider, please.
Second.
Here's a motion and a second. I believe the item is now in front of us.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May.
just curious as to the purpose for the reconsideration.
Within committee, we asked the assistant city attorney that was there for an opinion, and he very hastily gave us one, but after reconsideration, it was deemed that it was probably not in the best interest to go with that, so.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Vitale.
you know, this amount for the consulting firm, I mean, what really, what expectations, you know, by follow through with the bike trail? I mean, what? Yeah, that's, yeah.
This is for compost.
This is, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, by the oh, okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll retrieve my comments.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Weigel, do you want to send this back to committee then?
Yes, please.
Okay. There's a motion to send it back to committee.
Second.
And a second by Alderman Probst. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Ranke. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in recess.